Hello everyone, I'm Vivi and welcome back. If there's one scene I always think back to, it's this one right here. Captain Quantum, who Ratchet feels is Captain Qwark's dimensional counterpart, asks Ratchet about this Captain Qwark guy and wonders if he's also a pirate in Ratchet's dimension. Ratchet replies with, "He's a hero," followed with a few factually correct remarks. But in the end, after Quantum's reaction to the word hero, Ratchet explains Captain Qwark beautifully.
Because no matter how many times he screws up, he's always there when it matters most. He never stops trying.
Because no matter how many times he screws up, he's always there when it matters most. He never stops trying. After that explanation, Quantum pretty much, I'd say, enters a moment of self-reflection. Him saying, time for a career change, conveys a message, I feel. Even with screw-ups or bumps on the road, one can still turn their life around, something like that. That's what I felt when watching this scene. Looking at Quantum's character description within the gallery, he at a point was a resistance member, but a time came where he longed for more action. Mr. Carl Lepton then decided to pursue the life of Captain of the Robot Pirates. However, as we saw in this scene, it quickly came to an end. This whole time, Robot Pirates believed this guy was a robot. It only took the bucket helmet to fall off his head to completely turn this whole thing around. They all started believing he took the life of their Captain Quantum. As for how this scene came about, Clank had suggested finding Captain Quantum as he was the last member of the Resistance, well, he used to be, and he was part of the Emperor's wanted list. Rivet then told Ratchet to find Pierre on Ardolis, believing he'd take him to Quantum. Upon rescuing Pierre, we're told to enter the pirate trials. Doing so would lead us to Captain Quantum. And hey, conveniently, our duo also realizes Quantum bugged the Emperor. After this whole turn of events, Quantum agreed to give Ratchet the helmet if he'd help him deal with the pirates. That's how this whole scene happened afterwards. Naturally, with the helmet, it helped our duo keep tabs on the Emperor. Sure, Rift Apart has other tense and interesting moments, but those moments we saw coming, right? It was only a matter of time before Rivet would find out the truth about Kit, how she was responsible for Rivet losing her arm, or Kit coming back to aid Rivet and the gang. But this little scene on Ardolis, I did not see coming. Well, maybe there's another one as well, but let's focus on this one. This remains to be one of my favorites in Rift Apart, if not the best moment in Rift Apart. The very first time I watched this scene, it just really felt heartwarming. With a huge splash of nostalgia, Ratchet's way of explaining Captain Qwark just reminded me of how I grew up with this series. When you hear Ratchet speak of Qwark this way, you just know you've been with this series for a very, very long time. When Ratchet stated how Qwark took credit and screws up but keeps trying, yeah, that's exactly it. Qwark wants to be seen as a hero, but he always went at it the wrong way. For newcomers especially, you might ask yourself, just how big of a role has Qwark played in this series? How important is he? Ratchet's body language and slight pausing here just makes it seem like Qwark's been present in our duo's life quite significantly. So again, just how significant of a role has Captain Qwark played in Ratchet & Clank's life? The way I'd put it, I wouldn't say Qwark was there to train our heroes necessarily, but he was there all the time. Whether it was trying to get rid of them or cause havoc to the galaxy using the proto-pets. Oh, if you didn't know, especially if you're new to the series, these little blue guys you see on the billboards in Nefarious City, they were quite significant in Ratchet's dimension. Qwark, during the early days of Ratchet & Clank's adventures, had used the proto-pets to cause havoc to the galaxy on purpose. Why? To try and redeem himself as a hero, cause problems, then try to jump in the limelight to try and save the day. That's how desperate he seemed back then. All in all, as time went on, he's been there to actually help our duo, whether it was to defeat Dr. Nefarious, who actually happened to be someone he knew in the past, even before he turned into a robot, or just being there as part of the gang. A time came where he was elected as president of Polaris, even took credit for Dr. Nefarious's defeat in a crack in time. So Ratchet saying he'd take credit and all, yeah, he definitely had a point. The comics released after 2009's A Crack in Time. If Artemis Zog were to ever return, the guy who lost his position to Qwark as president, just that alone would get Qwark involved. Zog would perhaps try and seek revenge. For those not too familiar with Zog, losing position as president just altered his mind. So much in fact, he started to steal planets to form his own galaxy. Qwark, who was president back then, had sent a cease and desist for Project Helios. Qwark deemed it too dangerous. Its original intent was to protect planets from catastrophic events. Not being president and all, it went to his head and used the scrapped project for his own selfish evil needs. As stated in the past, with rifts having opened during Rift Apart, it could have caused either of these two to escape. The other one would be Tachyon from Tools of Destruction. These two, long story short, wound up on the same comet after being banished by our heroes. Although Qwark hasn't really played a role in Rift Apart, I don't think it means it's going to minimize the chances for Qwark having a bigger role in the future. Although he's done some crazy and not so great things, it certainly kickstarted Ratchet and Clank's reputation as heroes in the galaxy. Hey, if you'd like to know more about Qwark's involvement in the series, perhaps you'd like to check out this Qwark lore video I made a while back. A link should appear in the outro of the video. With that said, what did you think of this scene? If not for this scene, what moment in Rift Apart do you think back to or deem unforgettable? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Like always, thank you to my patrons on Patreon, and thank you all for watching. You can call me Vivi, and until next time.